Christians love to say God hates divorce, but they forget the same God hates abuse, betrayal, and deceit. Let's talk about it. Divorce was never part of God's design, but it became part of God's allowance because of human brokenness. Jesus said in Matthew 19 verse 8, Moses permitted divorce because of the hardness of your hearts. But from the beginning, it was not so. So no, divorce has never been part of God's plan, but it's now part of God's mercy. And Matthew 5:32 is very clear when it states on what grounds divorce is allowed, which is sexual unfaithfulness. However, it is not the only principle Scripture gives. In 1 Corinthians 7 verse 15, Paul says, if the unbelieving partner decides to leave, let them go, because God has called us to peace. In other words, abandonment breaks covenant as well. God never called anybody to stay in situations that destroys the image of His love. And marriage was meant to reflect covenant and not captivity. I'm one of the people who always say I would rather stay single than be in a marriage where I'm going to endure rather than enjoy. So if someone is spiritually, physically, and emotionally abusive, that's not covenant, it's cruelty. So is divorce always wrong? No. It may be devastating, yes, but it may also be deliverance. As much as God hates divorce, He also loves people, and He hates anything that will make them feel hurt. I'm very sure you've heard of so many stories where wrong doctrine has forced people to endure in places that they were supposed to enjoy according to God's design, and as a result ended up losing their lives. So before you judge someone's divorce, remember it may not always be rebellion. Sometimes it may actually be the rescue.